What weird thing did somebody tell you that they shouldn't have felt so comfortable telling you? Years ago, I lived in Florida. My girlfriend, now wife, and I went to a Chili's one night to get some drinks with her coworkers. After they left, we went back inside to the bar for one more drink because it was still early and we lived nearby. This older guy walks in and sits down a few stools away from us and immediately starts giving us some lighthearted shit about football. Then notices my girlfriend typing something on her phone. Within 60 seconds of meeting us, he decided to drop this. "Oh, you like looking things up on them phones, huh? Google my name." We Google his name and the first result is a news article that names him as the victim of an attempted murder suicide by his wife. She shot him in the head, then shot herself in the head right after she died. He didn't. Police came after a call of shots fired. They found him unconscious but alive. Med-flighted him to a hospital and he woke up later that day. And that was his icebreaker story. Edit. Grammar. Floridians have no concept of ice, so they don't know how hard to go in order to break it. Florida man strikes again. A strange coworker, whom I wasn't ever close with, decided to tell me at work, across the entire office, that she and her husband were having marital problems due to lack of sex. He wanted more sex, but since she wasn't trying to get pregnant, she didn't see the point and said he needed to get over it. This happened loudly, out of nowhere and with no prompting. What made it more uncomfortable was that she was our HR person. I feel sorry for her husband. Yeah, it's really a tough spot to be in. On the one hand, you know you have certain needs that are being left unmet. But on the other hand, who wants to have sex with an unwilling participant? So after a few weeks of this, you start feeling off, like something inside you isn't quite right. You're less confident. You tend to overthink and underact. And finally it dawns on you that having sex was one way in which you maintained a special connection to the person you'd committed to, and that without that solid rock beneath you, you're less sure that you can accomplish what needs to be done. You eventually realize that a romantic relationship that lacks a physical aspect is really just a puffed-up platonic relationship that costs you nearly all of your time, money, and energy to appease while staying sane. Now nobody needs sex to survive, but when you've built up to who you are, with a major aspect of that being your relationships, you can begin to see how introducing doubt into that equation can cause long-lasting issues that don't auto-resolve. This is not unique to men, by the way. It's a common experience for any person who is committed to somebody with a drastically different sex drive than themselves. It's not a death sentence for the relationship either. But if we were to make a medical analogy, it would be like getting news that your relationship has cancer and needs a serious run of anti-cancer therapies to become healthy again. This isn't a 10-day run of antibiotics and you're back to work sort of deal. It requires lasting and ongoing treatment that attacks the specific type of cancer, with some being easier to treat and others being nearly impossible. Greater than what made it more uncomfortable was that she was our HR person. "There's a nice little foothold right this way," said the bear trap, chatting with another mom at the park. "Now we can chat about some pretty weird things. Like, discussing your kids' pooping habits would be a normal conversation. Even to some extent discussing how things are going in the bedroom isn't that weird. But I've had some weird things other moms have confided to me. The one that stands out was a mom who confessed she was a closeted lesbian in a loveless marriage, who has a huge crush on her teenage son's girlfriend. It got even weirder too. Oh God, sad face. Yeah, I think she was just looking for someone to unload all that baggage on. At some point I told her she really needed to see a therapist about this. Managed a restaurant and a man was there to service the building. HVAC or something. He seems anxious and starts rattling on about his girlfriend, and then her brother-in-law said, "Brother fucked a cow." Immediately apologizes. "I don't know why I said that. I probably shouldn't have told you that. Sorry. Edit. Gentleman was odd overall. I don't think it was weighing on him that he had to share, but perhaps his general demeanor was awkward and twitchy. Accidental Hagrid, business partner of my then boss, that had just introduced himself to me. Greater than nice team you've got here. We should all go on a trip to Thailand together. You can fuck prostitutes without protection over there. They all have documents from their doctors showing that they're clean. Dude was also married, with 2 young daughters. What the actual fuck? I'm in my early 20s and I swear I've heard heaps of mid-50s guy try to relate with younger men by talking about fucking prosies in Thailand or the Philippines. My coworker went into great detail, including a hand-drawn diagram, about how constipated she was after one of her C-sections. She said she was so uncomfortable that she asked her husband to try to dig some of the poo out of her butt with his finger. So she put a towel down on the bed, laid on her side, and he got to work. After some successful digging, she rolled over and noticed a butter knife on the bedside table and asked what it was doing there, to which he responded, "Well, it was too hard for my fingers. We're nurses." She told this story at the desk to a group of at least 5 people. We were all mortified. Our unexpected poop knife. Why the fuck is this a sub? So there was this weird story on Reddit. My sister told me she was getting her tonsils out, so that she would give better head. Come on. Step bro. My tonsils are out. I have more room now. Edit. Thank you for the Santa award. Friendly stranger. Edit. Thanks for my first gold ever. Use the man. Thanks for the silver and the coin gift. You people are great. What are you doing, step bro? Steep breathier. Let me in. I'm sitting in a hospital right now to get my tonsils taken out, but for different reasons. Edit. Just woke up not too long ago and I feel like shit. Anesthesia isn't settling too well and I'm not in the mood to suck any dick. Me. Sits down for my lunch break at work. Random coworker comes and sits down and says to me, "So I've been watching cartoon monster porn. Sounds like they had you pegged from the moment you walked in." Greater than pegged, wrong genre. Dude pays me at work, then tells me he can't poo monsieur, he can have an orgasm, but then needs to use straw to get it all out. Poop knife too, cum straw. Yeah, I think I'm done with this thread now. Ha 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 fuck. Kind of related. In a previous job where I was in senior management, I had an employee come to me and ask to speak privately. He said he needed a few days off. He had just found out his son was being molested by a neighbor. He needed to be at home and deal with his son and the police, but didn't want anyone else to know. For obvious reasons, I told him to take the time off and that I would take care of things for hi monsieur. I told scheduling and HR that he was to be given 3 days off, and the HR manager pestered me to know why. I told her I couldn't say, but it was a legit reason. And that's that. She was pissed, demanded I tell her, and even got the regional manager involved. I told them to drop it, that I was going into details. It was well within my power to make that decision, but the HR and regional managers were both cunts. They told me if I didn't tell them, there would be consequences for me. I told them clearly to drop it, that it was a sensitive subject, and the employee took me into his confidence. End of story. The employee wasn't one to take excessive time off, and he had sick and vacation time. So I told them there was no reason to make this an issue. The weird thing is, I didn't have a particularly good relationship with this employee. Not sure why he told me, as he was friends with another of the senior managers, who could have taken care of this for hi monsieur, but I was known to be an employee-first manager, and I still am monsieur. I suppose he trusted me, despite us having some differences. It was quite heavy burden to take on, knowing what this guy was going though. But you don't always get to pick your battles. Sometimes you just have to fight them, monsieur. I never did share the reason why I allowed the time off, even after several of the bosses cornered and pestered me. In the end, I was let go for others' reasons, standing up for another employee, but feel this incident contributed to it. Fuck him. I would do it all over again. Right is right. You rock. I met a professional acquaintance at a friend's show one night. We knew each other vaguely, having met a couple of times, so we started having small talk. The guy obviously had gotten one too many beers, and felt it was a great time to tell me all about his dumb moves from his early adulthood. How his fiancée cheated on him with his best friend and how he became an alcoholic. Alright, definitely awkward, but manageable so far. It took a turn for the worse when he suddenly felt comfortable enough to describe, in details, how he and his friends had raped a teenage boy that was blackout drunk. The acquaintance and his friends were drunk and thought it would be fun to do that while the boy was literally unconscious and unresponsive. I noped the fuck out of the conversation right after that and hope I'll never run into him again. I was like, ugh, this might have been me, in the first paragraph. Second paragraph, nope, not me. Edit. This is now my top-rated comment. When I was younger I hung out with a group of friends who drank a lot but were harmless. I guess one guy thought because we partied he could tell us about the time a girl fell asleep while having cheese with high monsieur. He took offense, so he finished on her face, peed in her shoes and stole all the alcohol from her house. We told him that's not what we were about and it was really awkward. I used to have this kinda racist hairdresser who'd tell me about life, her son, etc. Anyway, she tells me one day about how her son went to this party, and there was a gay guy there. Now everyone was making a big deal about this, and like, you know, all the dudes were teasing each other about it, which is just honestly horrifying to me, that it's like a focal point of the party that there's a dude who is gay just minding his own business. But anyway, her son passes out drunk. All his friends there decide that what they're going to do is fill a condom with conditioner and put it in his asshole. So when he woke up he'd think the gay guy raped him. Monsieur freaked him the fuck out. And my hairdresser was like, yeah, he's still pretty messed up by it. I'm like, lady, your son was sexually assaulted by his friends. And she was just brushing it off, like they didn't have sex with him. They weren't attracted to him. And I'm like, no, they spread his ass cheeks and forced an object into his rectum. He was sexually assaulted, and she looked really fucking surprised and started piecing together that this might be why her son is not okay. Like, oh, maybe that's not just a prank, huh? Quote, those are some messed up friends. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.